Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome back to Monday Manna. I'm your host, Darla Bonk, CEO and founder of Darla Bonk Consulting. And every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we bring to you Monday Manna, clarity for the calling and direction for the doing. So get your Monday started off right. So come back here every Monday morning. This past week, I had three wonderful visitors that came to town to spend week with me, Jean, Ginger, and Judy. And they are three of my dearest friends. We get together about every 6 to 8 months, somewhere together in the world. And we spend about 3 days together to catch up, to connect, to be there for each other, and more importantly, to laugh. I will tell you that. But we make fun of ourselves, we share life together, and we really just talk through anything and everything from life changes, our kids, our pets, other friendships, businesses, where we are in our business. We're all business owners, and we just sit and encourage one another. But we do not judge. It is a safe zone. No matter what is happening, there is no expectation that we have to show up as XYZ. We just get to be, and we motivate each other and we push each other to grow and to be better and to remind each other how fabulous we think each other is. And I'm so thankful for this friendship, especially during this season of my life. They have been so sweet and kind to check in on me and to be there for me and encourage me. And it was such a bittersweet hug yesterday with all of them because I just love them. I love hanging out with them. I love every single minute with them. And that is so rare, especially as you get older in your life, as you know. So I want to ask you, who do you have in your life that sees you, that knows you, and not only lifts you up, but grabs you by the hand and is willing to walk through challenging times with you when you're in the thick of it, no questions asked? Proverbs 27:9 says, perfume and incense bring joy to the heart, and the pleasantness of a friend springs from their heartfelt advice. Ecclesiastes 4:9 and 10 says, two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help him up. Galatians 6:2 says, carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. And Romans 12:5, so in Christ we, though many, form one body, and each member belongs to all of the others. It is too easy in this day and age, guys, to operate in a vacuum, even though we all have access to the world right at our fingertips. But as accessible as the world is, it's wild to think about how many people today feel isolated and lonely, and that no one truly sees them. According to a recent Cigna study, 57% of Americans right now are feeling lonely, and 1 in 6, or 16%, are experiencing extreme loneliness. In the Cigna study, they did it of 7,500 people. 42% said that they come to work feeling already mentally somewhere else. 35% miss at least one day a month, and another 36% are already likely seeking a new job. Why? Well, the study really took key data from Vitality in America 2024, which was a report back last year that brings to the surface these two main highlights. Number one, that people in different generations are experiencing loneliness very differently. Younger generations, while more connected digitally, are reporting higher levels of loneliness. However, Gen Xers, that's me, and baby boomers are experiencing more severe mental health issues related to loneliness, including depression and anxiety. And then number two, caregivers are rarely alone, but are often lonely. Many parents of young generation and unpaid caregivers for adults or disabled individuals are feeling isolated, with two-thirds of them identifying as lonely. Caregivers younger than the age of 45 are facing higher levels of emotional burden and stress compared to older caregivers. Why is that? Well, You're in that sandwich generation. You still have young children or kids at home that you're caring for, and you're caring for an aging population and a parent, a grandparent, a loved one, an aunt and uncle. 72% of workers aged 18 to 34 have feeling of loneliness that are in these caregiving roles. So we're already feeling lonely as we've just entered the workforce. So what does any of this have to do with leadership? To me, I think it has everything to do with leadership. Companies that take measures to not dismiss this data, but actually implement measures to combat the loneliness among their workforces are creating a place where employees will feel less isolated, more connected, leading to increased employee vitality and better business outcomes. I've been watching a show on Apple TV, and one of these scenes talks about this executive director who is very down to business, and she lets the team come in and they time it. She has a timer for 5 minutes for the collective body of the room. There's about 8 of them in the room, and they get to tell what happened on their weekend, what they did, and then it's right back to business. 5 minutes for all 8 of them to share. And I think that although the old school approach of keeping your personal life personal and your business life business is the tradition, it is no longer the norm. We have been so integrated in our worlds that it is often next to impossible for especially Gen Zers to think that they are going into business mode and that's all they're going to think about. They're not going to think about anything else. And while that may not be the extreme measure that you're asking of your team, to think that the personal world is not going to impact their business world is a little naive. So there's 3 takeaways that I really want to give you. Number 1, I want you as the leader to support and model work-life harmony. It is not work-life balance. I do not subscribe to work-life balance because those things are never in balance. The scales are never like this. Most of the time, you might have a work like this and life like this, or you might have life up here and the work is what's bogging you down. It is not work-life balance. It is work-life harmony. So while 20% of lonely workers who feel their employer supports a work-life balance or harmony, they report high vitality. That proportion plummets to 2% when workers don't perceive that they have that support. So the stats aren't very high to begin with. But if your team does not feel like you are allowing them to balance a work life in a harmonious way, their stock of their life and their loneliness and how well they think their employer supports them plummets to 2%. Even if you have everything else, even if they're making good pay, even if they have benefits, even if they have X, Y, and Z that you've given to them, we have to be thinking about our approach to our people in a different way. Life is different than how we came up in the world of work, and it is changing, especially because you have young leaders who are managing multiple types of generations, and these generations have all experienced life very differently. Think about millennials. They have only come up in the world through struggle. They started out coming through the age of the post 9/11 era. Then they went through the recession. Then they went through COVID. I mean, they have had major traumatic things that changed the shape of American history. So, of course, they're going to go through life thinking things differently and thinking about the world of life and people differently than Gen Xers and baby boomers. I want you to encourage your employees to take the time off and be respectful of their time. Why will you give them time and days if you're not going to let them use it, or if you're going to make them feel guilty about using those days? Number 2, Foster a culture of inclusion. We say that, we talk about it, but in this study, they showed that people who are lonely overwhelmingly reported feeling a lack of belonging, even when they had other people in their lives. So, to combat this, sponsor employee resource groups, organize team building activities, or virtual coffee breaks that will encourage employees to foster camaraderie and strengthen connections through social interaction. And number 3, build a genuine relationship with your team members. Empathetic leadership is crucial. Emotional intelligence is crucial. And as a leader, if you are not leaning into that with everything you've got, you are missing the mark. 19% of workers who classify themselves as lonely but feel understood by their manager or leader report high vitality, compared to only 8% who feel misunderstood. Schedule regular check-in calls. They don't have to be long-winded. They don't have to be these long one-on-ones where you're bringing the KPI sheet and the scorecard. Share personal stories and experiences. What's happening? What's a win this week? And even facilitating your team's connections with colleagues across the company are going to be of utmost importance. So as you're going into 2026, leaders, if you're not talking about this with your strategy, with your strategic team, with your C-suite leaders, with your boards, you're missing the mark, because that is what people are needing. People are longing for authenticity. And what we really mean by authenticity, well, that's just me. True authenticity that challenges us to become our best selves and to help other people and to do life and work with other people in this world of work. It is inclusive of our family life, our spiritual life, our physical life, our emotional life. And we've got to find a way to be able to allow for all of that so that it does not disrupt the world of work and your business, but it can be interacted and integrated with the world of business. All right, guys, that is your Monday Manna for this week. Go be amazing. I'll see you right back here next Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make it a great week.